you so much for joining us here at The Research Her, the show working to improve the health disparities for women of color, one topic at a time. I am Alicia. I'm here learning and growing with you as we research our way to well-being. Okay, let me be real with y'all and saying I'm going to just start off with this. I recorded this episode already. Okay? I recorded it. I hated it. It was boring, and I couldn't believe that I spent 30 minutes of my time recording and sounding like a doggone boring person. Okay? That's not what my goal was. I feel like while I was recording, I was very insecure about sharing it. Like, I started off the episode, I'm like, I don't know if I want to share this with you guys. I'm just not a vulnerable person. And looking back on it, I'm just like, girl, you are not a therapist. You're not trying to be a therapist. That is not the life that you chose. So here we are, recording again, this time with a little bit more energy, baby. Okay? I'm not about to put myself out there being a boring little baby. Okay? So let's start off. This topic this week is about quarter life crisis. I am not in any way saying I'm having one, and I'm not telling you having one. What I'm telling you is I was living my little old life, okay? And I know I have since I've been to college, so that was a few, maybe I forgot how long. Facebook told me how long I've been in college, because you know how they pop them pictures up and it's like, this picture was taken 8 years ago. Ain't no way I was in college 8 years ago. Too young for that, okay? But I was in college, and since being halfway adult, halfway adolescence, there has been these times where I'm just completely down and not happy, and then there's these times where I'm just like on the run. You can't stop me. I can't sit down long enough. I put everything to the side that is not important to me, or not, I won't say is not important for me to grow as a professional person, and all I'm focused on is running. What I'm gonna do next? Who do I want to be professionally? Boom, 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 boom. Go. If it don't have nothing to do with my professional life, I don't want no parts of it. If it don't have nothing to do with me growing a business, I don't want no parts of it. And that's just been kind of a cycle I've been in, where either I'm super, super down and I don't want to do anything, or I'm only doing things that are related to my professional life. And I do feel like it causes a lot of my relationships to suffer. I think I have the friends that are around me, I also do the same thing as far as running for their professional jobs, or they are just patient people and they understand what my goals are. And I love y'all if you listening. Even if you're not listening, I love you, but you won't know that I said it. But here we go. All of June has been one of those low points where since got home, I started off being home super drained. I had no energy. I want to say for 3 weeks. Specifically, the week I got back from traveling. So I came in, went to conferences, got back to lab, and I had nothing left in me. And I don't want to do anything. I haven't been wanting to do anything but watch Netflix. It's not like me to just sit around and watch Netflix. When I was in China, I rarely watched. I would watch like maybe a show that someone was like, you have to watch it. But that was it. I was on the go the whole time I was in China. It's like, what's next? And all of this month has just been a low month for me. Even outside of this month, I've struggled with anxiety and having panic attacks and feeling like, oh my God, I don't have my shit together. Now I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20. I don't want to die and feel like I didn't get my dreams and aspirations fulfilled, or whatever that looks like. But that's just kind of like where my mind goes sometimes. So I started Googling, like, girl, maybe you having a midlife crisis. And I figured, hopefully I'm not midway through my life, but, God's plan is God's plan. hopefully I'm quarter way, and if something were to happen, I die around 100 years old, I'm gonna hope that right now I'm a quarter way through my life. So I was like, oh girl, you probably having a quarter life crisis. Bet you nobody thought about that. Hey, I googled quarter life crisis, and obviously it's a thing. I looked into the literature, and I found that this is actually a research topic, and I figured, why not share it here on the Research Her? It is perfect to talk about this idea. The term was coined somewhere, I believe, in the early 2000s. That's where I first see it popping up as a term, like around 2002, 2004. So let's talk about what a quarter life crisis is. Like I said, not a therapist, just here sharing research that I found about quarter life crisis, because it is very much mental health related. There is no definite time where we stop being kids and we become adults. It's just not. So somewhere between 18 and 30, mid your early 30s, there's this period in which you're not either. You're not a kid, but you ain't an adult. So the literature calls this like adultescence, where you somewhere in between. And there is this point where society and so social, cultural, and financial environments as well play a role in the imprint of your life. It imprints itself, and depending on what your situation is or our situation is, we end up seeing things differently. A quarter life crisis is defined as a period of life following the major changes of adolescence in which a person begins to feel doubtful about their own lives, brought on by stress of becoming an adult, and it is termed relative to the midlife crisis, obviously. And a lot of the literature just talks about the experiences of someone who is in that quarter period of life. So people feeling like they have so many goals and so many ways of achieving it, and social media is coming up as a means that allows people to see how many options they have in life and all the different directions they can go in. So today's quarter life crisis looks a lot different from our parents and our grandparents, because not only are we dealing with trying to figure out what do we want to quote unquote be when we grow up, but seeing that all the options that we can be, because it's all over social media. People now question whether their achievements will generate that happy feeling or the feeling of adequacy and gratification. And we are no longer just going for the okie doke that our parents tell us to do. So in the past, it may have been easy for parents to say, you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, boom, boom, boom. But we don't go for that no more. It's more of a no, actually, mama, I want to be an actress. And there are, not to say it wasn't happening in the past, obviously it was, but according to literature, we ask ourselves that more often than no, that's actually not what it said. What it's saying is, once we because this is not my field, like I said, I always in the show notes I say I am not an expert. You need to read this paper yourself. But what it's saying is, as kids, our parents set goals for us. Boom. We essentially do what the adults in our life tell us to do. But now that we are in this period, our parents no longer can tell us what to do. And you got to figure out what you're doing in your life. And there are some people who they keep going with the path that has been played for them to go in. But some of us say, you know what, I do want to change and no longer go down this road where I'm going to be this perfect engineer that my daddy wanted me to be. Instead, I'm going to go be a stripper. I don't know. Just throwing something out there. The papers also speak to the fact that there are some people who were given this certain level of prestige and they find that it doesn't tickle their fancy. They don't want to keep going down the same track. We all had that one friend who parents or dad or mom were a pastor or the deacon or something at the church, but they was buck wilding, and still are buck wilding. And that's just an example. I don't even know where that just came from, but there we go. We begin to reject this idea that we need to enter adulthood looking a certain way and we need to take this certain path, but we really value our individuality or individualism. And I say we as in someone who is in the middle, quarter life, not that it actually is happening to me exactly, but there are so many different directions that we can go, and so many things that are possible, and it just becomes overwhelming. There's also mention that relationships look different. We no longer, like, even recently, which I haven't seen, I want to see the Red Table Talk, where not only is it that relationships look different as far as people are waiting later to get married, and we don't, we have more sex and less marriage, but now the question is, do you even want to just be with one person? Do you want to be, what is it called? I forgot, but you can have boyfriend, girlfriend, 2 boyfriends, 2 girlfriends, whatever your life desire is, and it's more normal now than it ever has been. So relationships just look different. So that adds to this idea that you could possibly end up in a situation where you have this quarter life crisis, where there's this feeling of maybe isolation, inadequacy, and self-doubt coupled with fear of failure. And it is completely normal. And again, I'm not telling you that this is you or you're having a crisis, but what I will say is, if you do have these feelings, there's literally literature out there saying you're not the only one. So, sis, yes, you are not alone. And if you ever feel that way, just come to me. I'm not a therapist. All I'm going to tell you really is get you a therapist. But all of us, I feel, at some point felt like we're not there. But some of the symptoms of a quarter life crisis they go anywhere from mild anxiety to like full-blown panic attacks or depression. I think this is interesting too. Is it really a quarter life crisis? I would love to know if it's considered a quarter life crisis, and then once you get to 33, now you go from having a quarter life crisis because you were in the quarter of your life to now you are in the middle of your life, or and you're having a mid. I don't really know how it probably works, because I just think anybody could be going through this. But regardless of anything, we are talking about what the literature says about quarter life crises. And I feel that as far as the symptoms go, which, again, off track, but we're going to go with it. I'm just going to go off track, see where we end up at. I have felt everywhere on that spectrum. Like, I'm looking at where it says, like, you can have just mild anxiety. I have had anxiety to full-blown depression, alongside having symptoms of anxiety or depression or whatever. I have felt guilt alongside it. And I would love to know if there is literature, if you know anything about it, where people talk about some of the way that guilt plays a role in people's emotions related to maybe anxiety or depression, because you shouldn't be depressed. You shouldn't feel anxious. Your life, nothing is going wrong with it. Your life is going smoothly and you are in a good place in life. How could you be anxious? And putting myself in this box of, you can't feel this way. You should never feel that way. And you have nothing to complain about. Everything is going good. So on top of just being sad, you have that, or I would have that moment where I'm not giving myself grace for being sad in certain situations. And I'm sure it doesn't help because I don't allow myself to feel my feelings, because I'm like, you can't feel that feeling because shorty, your shit's fine, whatever. So that's that. But like I said, I was just riding that road, but back to the main road. The literature talks about more symptoms, which may include from 0 to 100 real quick. So you can be mildly insecure to completely confident within just a few seconds. So an example I'm thinking of off the top of my head is during a presentation, I just felt like, oh, I ain't crap. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. To like in the middle of the presentation, like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm on. like that, feeling alone, confused, and anxious, to being a social butterfly, centered and calm is also something that's mentioned. And yeah, more symptoms that they talk about, but essentially having a lot of uncertainty about the future. And they go on to just continue on about symptoms, but they also have this point where they discuss 10 different quarter life crises typologies that people have adapted. And I won't go into all 10 of them, just 3 that I felt like really resonated with me. So the 3 are a workaholic, a thrill seeker, and someone looking for social change. So these are the 3, but I highly recommend looking at the paper. It's a review article about quarter life crises. So the workaholic is committed to achieve a goal, but do not receive gratification from the achievement of that goal. As soon as one project is done and complete, move on to the next one. A thrill seeker, they do things simply because they can, and they feel little gratification from accomplishments and pretty much never fully feel gratified. And the person committed to social change is someone who, it sounds exactly as it is, but they want social change and they want to be the instruments of change in society. And I think all 3 of those categories really resonated with me. And not all 3 of them are positive either, but that's just me kind of being transparent and saying I do realize that I struggle with feeling fulfilled and fulfillment. And it's like I have these points in time where it's just go, 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 go. And I could do better. I want to be better, and I know I want to change things and make a difference, but I rarely celebrate accomplishments. So I am very grateful for people in my life because they kind of forced me to. Oh no, we're gonna celebrate your graduation. Oh no, we're gonna celebrate your birthday, even if it's something small as a card. So I really do appreciate the people around me. I don't really like celebrating my birthday, so it was kind of interesting that I put out kind of a request to get birthday, so shout outs or whatever, because for the past few years it's been like, okay, I am 1 year technically older, but I don't know. Birthdays to me aren't an accomplishment, but most things aren't accomplishments in my opinion. I just feel like you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do to have a productive life, but I need therapy. There is this idea that people in the quarter of their life are in the process of finding their meaning and purpose and pursuing happiness, freedom, and authenticity. I truly feel that way. And the paper goes on to tell therapists how to apply this knowledge in which they share in the literature. That's it as far as that goes. But I want to share with you some takeaway messages that I have, which are: if you feel lost and anxious, realize you are not alone. I've already said it, but I just want to overemphasize it, that there are people who are willing to help you get through any process that you're going through, but you just have to be vulnerable enough to seek the help and open your heart and do not resist to the help in which people are willing to give you. You have to also realize that people want to help you. You just sometimes don't want to help you. I know, because it's me. It's been times where I have completely self-sabotaged and had to pull myself out of a hole in which I didn't need to be in if I would have just freaking asked for help. The paper also says that a crisis gives you the opportunity to reframe thoughts and free ourselves from the ideas that culture have told us is what we should be doing. And we can then create an alternative experience. That's pretty much what it says. We can create an alternative experience. So if there is a point where you're going down this road and you realize this is not for me, you turn around and you take another trail, or at least finding out like, okay, I'm not happy doing this. This direction is obviously not for me. And that's like a way of looking at crises sometimes, where it's not just you're sad or you're depressed, but okay, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Now, how can I get that way? It speaks to the fact that also another takeaway is that there are no guidelines for getting through this particular portion of your life, or no portion of your life actually. So it's okay to be soul searching and trying to figure it all out. You don't have to figure it out alone. Seek a therapist or someone who you really feel can help you get through it. I'm here trying to figure it out too. I was going to therapy. However, it started becoming, I think one of my struggles is like when things are very hectic in my life, I cut off all things that are not academic or professional related. So therapy ended up being more of a thing. Now I was like, well, I could spend this hour talking to someone, or I could spend an hour working on this project. Oh, I choose the project. Girl, please. I know I should be talking to someone. But again, I think I also struggle with, like I said before, not giving myself the grace in that you have the right to feel your feelings and you should not be ashamed of being sad, even though you think you have nothing to be sad about. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to go from here. I think that's it for this week's episode. I'm nervous about sharing it, but here we go. We're putting it out there. If you want to reach me, I am at The Research Herd on the socials, and email me at hitusup. I know you like, girl, you just don't end the episode like that. I feel like I gave the takeaway messages. I do the most. Okay, yes. Make sure you get the Research Herd app. It's on iOS and Android. Okay, that's it. I'll holla.